To this day, many tourists or individuals travel frequently like never before in this era. With the economic contribution and increase of global travel, it comes with immense challenges to retain sustainable and environmental protections within the hospitality and tourism industry. In this presentation, I will go over what I wrote for my report in the strategic writing and communication class with what my topic was all about and where it is going. I will also cover the sides between advising to implement environmental and sustainable practices and the other side of the idea of discarding the idea of implementing environmental and sustainable practices. So here's the agenda I'm going to go over, which is the introduction, advising the implement sustainable environmental practices on side A. Side B is discarding the idea of implementing environmental and sustainable practices. And then we're going to go over with a conclusion and just pretty much talking about what I went over through the presentation. As someone who's studying in this industry, I can see where this is going with the hospitality and tourism industries. The industries don't just face challenges of being innovative and being able to adapt to such changes. It's also the challenge to bestow knowledge from leaders and managers to new recruits and continue working employees to understand the fundamentals and reasons to have environmental and sustainable changes within those industries. And also leaders demonstrating examples of showing any care, plans, or any financial decisions in the end. Now we have gone over what this topic is going over, I shall start explaining what each side has to offer. Starting with side A, which is advising to implement sustainable environmental practices. So side A, like I mentioned before, the hospitality and tourism industries are facing big challenges with sustainable and environmental practices, with leaders and managers making the right decisions in financial, business, and strategic plans to produce practices within their industries, along with improved lectures and studies for their staff and employees. However, that is not the only situation they've faced. Some might argue that many travelers would love to see some sustainable environmental practices within those businesses, and many are finding restaurants, hotels, event planners, or even event tourism locations that have some practices involved. I would like to point out that the major consumption for all of these industries is water and energy consumption, because many would love the best experience they can possibly witness, and businesses and companies will do everything they can to use any of those issues with water and energy to bring the best experience. It can all work out if many businesses are willing to adapt and make changes, but it does come at a cost. Going to side B, which is discarding the idea of environmental and sustainable practices. Despite taking these initiative actions to ensure practices are to be performed for the hospitality and tourism industries, some businesses disregard the solutions and just move on without making any changes because of the financial and not thinking of the ethical concerns. Businesses don't just consider these issues, and the fact that it's the lack of experience in any businesses up in the upper management to make these kind of changes what brings many concerns, considering we are in an era when many of us know that the internet can be something about the company, and it can go downhill from there, which leads to resistance to change for the business to make for the right ethic and reasonable changes for those practices. Implementing environmental and sustainable development practices are a challenge for the hospitality and tour industries. Finding the right ethical decisions for the business and just making sure that everyone who's working in those industries have the right education or knowledge to understand the decisions needing to make for the businesses, and also what guests and customers are wanting to be satisfied with. Overall, one of my recommendations is just make sure businesses are implementing such changes, making the right ethic and reasonable decisions for the public to really have just understand what they're trying to do, what their image and their goals are, and just make sure businesses are teaching and lecturing everyone periodically. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and have a nice day.